Welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me, as always, is new Miguel, Kevin Jank.
I'm here, Mike Dell, and after the high highs of, Quasar, of course, and then, of course, Daredevil Born Again last week, we had to kind of reset the balance this week and get back to, traditional fare for this show. So this week we're doing Ragman number 3 from 1976/77. It took 2 whole years to get this out.
Well, yeah, the cover date is January of 77, but it came out in 76, I think is how that works. But, Ragman.
That's right. Everyone's favorite superhero.
I will say this. I always like learning about these heroes, and I didn't know anything about Ragman. So.
Yeah, now that I do know more about him, I'm like, oh, this is the kind of hero. It's like, why would you waste your money on this?
I like this. This is great.
The story was fine, but it's like, there are other comic books out there.
No, I like the story wasn't that great, but I like the concept of the Ragman. He just basically defends a neighborhood. He's like a really cheap daredevil. So
that's right. Little daredevil who works in a thrift store.
At a thrift store called Tatters and Rags.
Yeah. That's not
Rags and Tatters.
Ragman.
Yeah. Either way, that would be where I'd look first if I'm looking for Ragman.
Yep.
Rags,
and he's got a name that starts with the same letter, like Rory Regan. Yep, definitely. He's definitely a superhero.
So we'll get into all that in a minute, but before we do, let's remind everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I don't even remember how many subscribers are, but we didn't pick up any. So I think 346.
Daredevil, you'd think would get us a couple, but
no one's watching Daredevil. I don't get it.
Oh, no.
It's Daredevil Born Again, But
couldn't be more timely. Still nothing.
It's doing like a fifth of Quasar.
We live in the upside down, possibly bizarre world. I don't know.
Yeah, people don't give a damn about Daredevil, Spider-Man, Punisher. I think if we listen to the people, here's what they want: Quasar, Alf, Conan, and Mr. A. Those are the 4. We'll just rotate those every.
Issues with people playing baseball.
Yes, that was a really big one for us. But maybe we'll just rotate those every other week and give up on these actual, supposedly popular heroes. I'm betting Ragman does big numbers, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's probably only 50 people in the world searching for Ragman info. And we'll pop up.
We'll be right anyway.
Also, if we get to 500 subscribers, I think we're at 346, if memory serves. If we get to 500, Jack's going to make me read The Dark Knight every week for a month. Dark Knight
might be in our lifetime, but I don't know.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
And also, I have a book out there called Monkey Flip about a chimp detective. He's way better than Ragman. All right, so let's talk Ragman. This was actually an ongoing series that was canceled after 5 issues.
Yeah, I saw that. Not great. That's not what you want.
It kind of seems like it's a limited series because it's 5 issues, and at the end of issue 5, it actually ties everything up from the storyline. And they're just going to start a new story. So it actually worked out well. But
nice. To cancel at just the right time.
Yeah. I think this is part of the DC implosion. But I guess technically it's not usually included in the books that were canceled for the DC implosion. But I think that's just because they forgot about Ragman. But I think
I had to break this Ragman.
I think it was probably swept up in all that. And the DC implosion was when they had so many books being printed and they were just losing money. And they said, all right, enough of this. We're just
there was an explosion where they just started cranking out tons of books and they're like, hey, wait a minute, this was a bad idea.
This is way too many books. What were we doing?
Yeah.
Did you know Ragman had a book? What are we doing? Let's cancel. So that's what that. All right, so Ragman, Rory Regan, like you mentioned, that's the name of the fella. And he was, first appearance was Ragman 1, 1976, created by Robert Kanigher and Joe Kubert. And we've talked about Kanigher a lot. And Kubert, of course, is one of the most famous comic book artists of all time, probably, right? And he had his he had a skull And
Yeah, he's got a school. He's got
and
famous sons.
yeah, Andy and Adam Kubert, who went on to big fame. And,
Yeah, two of my favorites right there.
which one did the X-Men, Uncanny X-Men?
I think you're thinking of Andy. He did X-Men, the adjectiveless one,
Oh, okay.
like right after kind of Jim Lee left.
So he did not do Uncanny. He did X-Men.
Yeah, that's correct. He may have done like an issue here or there. Like I think there's like at least one cover of like Colossus, like trying to kill Professor X during like that Shadow King thing that was drawn by Andy Kubert. But yeah, he was never really a big artist on there. No.
And what did Adam Kubert do?
Well, he around that same time was doing Wolverine, the Wolverine
right.
solo book, and then he eventually would go on to do Uncanny X-Men.
Okay, so there you go. I knew Kubert was involved.
Yeah, and he did Ultimate X-Men when that started, so he's been all over the X universe.
And just a reminder, neither one of them has anything to do with Ragman, but their dad created Ragman, so sins of the father.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure he thinks of Ragman as his finest creation, not even those two boys or the school. That's the thing he's most proud of.
Not his two boys. The school. All right, so Rory Reagan, his backstory, his mom died when he was young, so he was raised by his dad, who was a former circus performer who owned a Gotham City junk shop called Rags and Tatters.
Oh, look at that. So this is in Gotham. I didn't even realize that.
Gotham, a neighborhood in Gotham City. Hey, what if it was called Rags and Taters? And he could just
that'd be delicious.
I know, I love potatoes.
Just old secondhand potatoes.
But his dad always told
around
Rory,
and collects people's fries that they didn't finish, and then like tries to sell them later on.
I'd do that, yeah. And he always told Rory that they'd be rich someday. And Rory said, "All right, old man, whatever." So Rory went off and joined the army, and he got sent to Vietnam.
Ooh, nothing good ever happens there.
No, that's not good at all. But he made it home safely, and his dad was still running that little junk shop. It's kind of like a Sanford and Son situation,
Yeah, it's more than a junk shop because it's also in a junkyard, so it's got a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a storefront up on the street, and then like a little business, and in the back, big old junkyard behind it. Right? I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
So, but his dad was a nice fellow, but his son thought he's just wasting his life,
Mm-hmm.
You should be out there, Dad, doing important things, But so then one day, though,
mail carrier,
his dad and his 3 old chums from the circus days, they like to just, hang out in the junkyard and booze it up and to trade stories and whatnot. And one night, they found there was an old mattress back there in the junkyard that had $2 million in it.
Holy hell.
Yeah, what the hell? And they're like, hey, you know what? Our lives are all garbage, and they didn't have families, And they, you know what? Let's just we're going to give this money to Rory. We're going to keep this money for Rory.
Oh, look at them! Those are some nice guys.
Because
myself.
They're like, our lives are over, But Rory's a good young fella, war veteran and all. He's coming back. Let's get
Much
him
like
money.
Skype, we're on borrowed time here. We're going down any day.
So they're like, all right, that's the plan. But just as they decide this, I guess some mobsters come into the junkyard, and or I don't know, or they hid the money back in the mattress. And then one mobster guy came looking for the money because it was his money. He hid it there after a bank heist or something, and he was coming back to get it. And but then these other mobsters showed up, and I think they killed that first mobster, and then they were trying to get the money, but they didn't know where it was in the junkyard. They knew it was in there somewhere, but they didn't know it was in the mattress. So they started leaning on Rory's dad and his 3 old circus chums, They're like, hey, tell us where that money is. And they're like, no, we have money. What money? We don't have any money. And they're like, oh, yeah, a bunch of wise guys, huh? So what we're going to do, even though we have guns, we're not going to shoot you. What we're going to do is we're going to shoot the power lines above you. And these power lines and electrical lines are going to fall down and slowly electrocute you and cook you.
So that's very theatrical goons right there.
Yes. And just as this is happening, Rory Reagan comes back and he discovers all this going on. He tries to save his his dad and his circus chums, but when he runs in and he grabs them, they all link hands, and he's trying to pull them out. But as soon as he touches them, they all get electrocuted and burst into flames and everything. So there's a poor ending for that. And so the mobsters, they think that Rory's dead, and they're all dead. So they take off, but Rory survives. But everyone else is dead. But not only did he survive, Jake, he got all the powers and abilities of these 4 old circus chums.
Yeah, I read about that. I was like, what exactly does that mean? Like, is one of them like a fat guy? He can eat a lot now, or what's going on here?
No, he got the strength of a circus strongman, the skills of a former heavyweight boxer, and the agility of a prize-winning acrobat.
Oh, okay, that's pretty.
But that's only 3. Like, what's the where his old man didn't do anything?
Yeah, his dad was just a junk guy. He got the skills of doing good paperwork for the tax.
He got the skills of spotting valuable junk. Yeah.
He got the art of the deal. He knows how to haggle.
So, also, when Rory, he goes back inside, after his dad and everybody died, and he finds a note from his old man, and his old man had made him a Ragman costume because he knew his son was going to be attending a costume party soon or something. So he's like, hey, I made you this outfit for your costume party.
You could be this thing that I just made up. Everyone will be very confused.
So Rory says, you know what? I'm going to wear this costume, and now I'm going to be Ragman, and I'm going to defend my neighborhood against these filthy crooks. Yeah. And these mobsters,
Yeah. They're always looking for money in mattresses.
I will say, yeah, but here's the other thing. Everyone died before they told Rory about the money.
Oh.
That's a nice little thing. So he doesn't know that there's $2 million stuffed in a mattress behind his house. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I saw that they did resolve that, and I was looking at the final issue. And
I did as well. We'll save that for the end. A very O. Henry ending to Ragman.
Yeah, sure was.
But how about Ragman's costume? Why don't you describe Ragman's costume for the people? Because he's got a nifty look,
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So he's kind of wearing a quilt, essentially. And it's kind of like a greenish outfit, but it's all kind of different shades of green and kind of different things stitched together. There's some pink, like pink and purple, and some blue every once in a while. And it's just kind of like it's almost like a mummy, but kind of with rags,
patches.
essentially. Yeah. And then he wears like a very like Spectre-esque kind of cloak that has a big pointy hood on it that is also dark green.
Yeah, the pointy hood's an interesting choice. But,
yeah. It's like a witch.
Yeah, but it's a cool look. I like the look of Ragman,
Yeah, it's spooky. I can see why this would be, creepy if this guy's coming out of the shadows at you. It's like, ugh.
And if it's so creepy that you like spill your beverage or something, he is right there with rags. Clean it up.
He's a living ShamWow.
So, all right, there's Ragman's history. Of course, this book is pre-Crisis. So, since it's DC, every hero has 80 different origins. But real quick, after the Crisis on Infinite Earths, in 1991, Keith Giffen revamped the character, and now he's Jewish, not Irish. And the costume was a suit of souls handed down through generations. And each patch on the costume represents a evil soul who the Ragman has defeated or, claimed in the past.
Oh.
So that patch gives him the powers and abilities and skill and strength of that person who he defeated or whatever. I don't know, something like that.
Huh. Okay. Like, is that cumulative? Like he's absorbed 100 souls, so he's got the strength of 100 men?
I guess. I don't know. I'll be honest, I didn't dig too deep into Ragman.
Yeah.
But this Ragman basically was fighting like magical and foes and stuff, like fighting for souls and everything, you know.
Okay. Yeah, like kind of leaned into the Spectre look a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is probably going to surprise you, but the character got revamped again.
What you don't say.
In 2017, and he got like a new look and slightly different abilities. Now, the only picture I saw of this version of him, like the costume was basically all white. Like, what is that? That's terrible. I don't know. But maybe that changed over the time.
Yeah, that's really strange.
I always
looks like Moon Knight, probably.
Yes. I always enjoy the pre-crisis heroes way better than post-crisis. So
yeah. I mean, maybe there's some exceptions, but yeah, they were at least more creative back then, I feel like, and usually stupider, which is kind of more fun.
Yeah, they're just very simple backstories, and
yeah,
simple's better. So, the creators here are Robert Kanigher, who we've talked about many times on the show, but he was one of the most prolific writers for DC over there. He has 1,980 writing credits at DC, so it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be careful how you say that guy's name on the show. I don't want you to cancel.
And then the artist for this, it's credited to Redondo Studios. And I think this is the first book we've ever done where the art is credited to a studio.
Yeah, but, that's unusual.
This is the combined works of brothers Frank and Nestor Redondo. Oh. And they were Filipino artists. DC had a big connection with the Filipino artists in this era. And they had their own little studio. So whether it was just the two brothers doing this or other people at their studio, not sure. But there were 14 books at DC credited to Redondo Studios for the art, including the first 4 issues of Ragman. And then Nestor Redondo, he individually had 75 penciling credits, including House of Mystery, Phantom Stranger, and Swamp Thing. And Frank had 154 credits, and he did a ton of Sergeant Rock. A whole bunch of Sergeant Rock.
That's good.
Those are the creators here. And anything else about Ragman? I know Ragman was on that Arrow TV show, right?
Oh, yeah. I think I saw him on there. That may be where I first heard of him.
Did you forget seeing Ragman? Should have changed your life.
I don't know. Eventually there were so many episodes of those shows, and it's like, I don't care anymore. This is just something to watch. Yeah.
All right. So I guess that's all we need to know about Ragman. And why don't you describe the cover for us?
Okay. So we got there's a little slogan up there at the top: the tatterdemalion of justice and see no evil. They like throwing that word around.
Tatterdemalion, it's a hell of a word. It just means, somebody who wears tattered clothing, a shabby person. They like to be fancy.
There's easier ways to say that, but yeah. I guess super bum was too much.
Super bum.
So it says the line of DC superstars. I think that's, boasting a little too much on Ragman. Yeah. 30 cents for this comic. And then we get the Ragman logo, which is pretty cool, actually. I like this logo. It's kind of tattered at the bottom, like all the letters are tattered. And each one's kind of a different texture. Like one's polka dotted, and then they even kind of change in, mid-letter, like they'll change patterns sometimes, so that's pretty cool.
Yes, the coloring of the logo is like orange and yellows, but there's different textural patterns throughout the logo. So I'm guessing the way they did this, I believe, was they took a photo of all these cloth textures, and then they overlaid the outline of the logo on top of it, and then use that, because these are like photos behind it, not a drawing of the details, So.
Very tricky.
Pretty cool logo. Yeah.
They invested a lot in this logo for a book that only lasted 5 issues.
Well, I think when they brought it back in '91, they used the same logo. So they knew they struck gold with his logo. And they're like, oh yeah, let's bring it back. Yeah, so.
That's the whole reason they brought him back.
But it is pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the cover itself, we got there's a scene, I guess, in like an alleyway, and coming down the stairs into the alleyway, we got a bunch of hoods. They kind of look like the bad guys in the Goonies a little bit, I guess. But they're like, get that kid. He saw us kill those people. The front guy's got a gun. And then they're chasing a little young boy here, holding a cat, and his eyes are real wide. And I guess we don't know why yet until we read the book. But
yeah, he's blind. Yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah, he's blind.
Blind and mute.
But he's very Gary Coleman-esque, this young fellow.
Yeah. Yes, that's why I picked this issue, because for those that don't know, on our other show that we do, the LCS hockey show, we have a thing where every week we watch terrible movies, and Mike Dell decided to torture everyone by constantly picking Gary Coleman movies week after week. And it was brutal. And every one of them had a foot chase that Mike Dell would not shut up about. So I figured this would be an issue right up his alley.
Nothing is more thrilling than a Gary Coleman foot chase.
I could think of about 17 million of them, but that's just me.
And I also like cats. So you got Gary Coleman and a cat.
You also like wheelchairs shooting missiles or shooting, machine guns.
We have that later as well. Well, yeah,
we also have Ragman himself.
Oh yeah, this kid's name is Teddy, right? I think Teddy.
That sounds right.
And the cat's name is Tiger? I don't know. I can't remember. I know
he calls him a tiger at the end, but I don't think that was his name. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. But yeah, as you were saying, Teddy's running down the stairs, and Ragman is.
He's just kind of waiting in the shadows. He looks pretty calm about this whole thing.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe I'll intervene, maybe I won't.
I have the combined strength of circus performers.
He's like, Wapner's on in a little bit. I better wrap this up quick. I don't know.
I'm not worried. And this is drawn by Joe Kubert. So, how about that? It's a okay cover, I guess. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Got a foot chase.
Yeah, they're putting it right on Front Street.
So, all right, we open up the book there, and we see Teddy, and he's walking down some stairs, and because his cat is in the fort. It's a white cat with a black circle around his right eye, which is weird.
Yeah. Although I think he loses that later on, so I don't know.
I don't know if he lost it or if it was just a coloring image.
The other Redondo was doing it that day and forgot.
I just think they forgot to put it in there at the end. Like they just colored everything white instead of.
Yeah. Or maybe that cat was just looking through like a periscope that somebody put, shoe polish on. It was one of those pranks. The little rascals got him.
So Teddy's following him down these stairs. And apparently this is a little game they play, where the kitten knows that, it's a kitten too. It's a very young cat, not a big cat. And the kitten apparently knows that Teddy's blind, and the kitty thinks it's hilarious that he walks around leading him different places. So, I don't know. So Teddy has to play catch up or something. I don't know. Seems like it's a horrible thing to do to a blind person, but whatever. I guess that's why they don't make cats seeing-eyed cats.
Yes. Yes, I don't have patience for this kind of thing.
So Teddy's tracking his kitty there, and because he's a little Daredevil-esque. He can, he's got really good hearing and smell and everything, so he can track the kitty. And he finally catches up to him on top of a landing outside of a door, and they can hear what's going on inside the room. And there's 3 thugs in there, and one of them's cracking his knuckles, and they're all commenting on how great his hairspray is.
That becomes a huge plot point. How this guy's pomade smells.
This guy says, sniff, sniff. Man, that hairspray is great. The other guy says, yeah, made especially for me. Drives the chicks wild. So this guy has his own hairspray maker.
Yeah, custom pomade. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
And he's always cracking his knuckles too. That's another key point. You gotta remember. But
And it seems like he got this custom made to smell like shit, is what it sounds like,
because
no
everyone
one
else
likes
hates
it.
how it smells except for this
Yeah.
other guy. But in the background, though, we see it looks like a married couple there. They're tied up in ropes and they got nooses around their necks. What the? This doesn't look good at all.
No, that never ends well.
And then on the next page, we get a big 2-page spread here, where in the background we get right in the middle we get Ragman's face, and on the left we get 2 panels of the thugs, the guy cracking his knuckles, threatening the folks, and because I guess they're refusing to pay their protection money, you know.
Yeah.
And
Pop doesn't like that.
so the only thing you could do in those situations is tie them up on a little stand, put nooses around their necks, and hang them.
Ooh.
I think a gun would be easier, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. These must be the same crooks that were, going to drop a power line on guys in the junkyard.
That is true. They're very elaborate with how they kill their people. But anyway, yeah, they hang that couple. They just kill that couple.
Yeah, they sure do.
And
the Redondos are tasteful enough to not show it, but
yeah, you just see their feet hanging. They made them take their shoes off too before they hung them. What the hell? These tricks are creeps. These guys. So that Teddy and his cat, they hear all this, and they're scared, so they go running.
Yeah.
Now, even though Teddy's blind, he can run like the wind, down steps and up steps, and this is an environment he is not familiar with at all. But
yeah. But apparently he knows well enough to know the sound of people's neck snapping when they're hung, and he can motion, even though he's never seen obviously anyone being hung. He knows how to do the motion very well for Ragman to pick up on it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Teddy, not only is he blind, he's also mute.
Yeah.
Man, this Teddy.
He's
dealt
got
a tough
hand. Yeah.
Hey, we both thought of the same thing. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jenk. So they're chasing Teddy, and what happens?
Well, he runs into Ragman, who's just kind of lurking in the shadows there. And Ragman's just like, hey, come on, get in my cloak here with me.
Come on, little boy.
This isn't creepy at all.
Get in my cloak.
I'll protect you.
Yeah. I forgot that my favorite thing here is, hey, there's the kid hiding in the corner. Take care of him now. Hold it. What's that near the kid? Ain't nothing but a pile of rags. It's Ragman. He's camouflaged as a 6-foot pile of rags.
Yeah, because you often stack them up that high. That's the only way. I'll also just store rags.
So what does Ragman do, Jack?
Well, he jumps in and he punches one of the guys right in the face. Gives him the old thud.
I love punching.
And then he just kind of grabs one of the other guys and tosses him by the arm, it looks like. And I guess the other one just he threw the one guy into the other guy, and that was enough to take him down. So that guy, I think, just wanted to collect unemployment or something. I don't know.
I don't think he's trying. He's not trying hard.
Yeah.
He knows when he's beat. He can't take Ragman. So.
No one can.
So yeah, Ragman walks off with it. Teddy's like, "Come on, son," and he's and now this part confused me. So moments later, where'd they go? If they get away, Mr. Big's going to be real mad at us. And the guy with the fancy hairspray is cracking his knuckles in again. He says, "No need to tell Mr. Big. We'll handle this ourselves." And then later on, the next time we see them, they're telling Mr. Big what happened.
Yeah. They gave up real easy. Just like they did in that fight.
What the? How is that allowed? Who's editing this?
These guys are not meant to be in the mafia. They fold under pressure way too easy. They get picked up once, they're telling everything.
So anyway, Ragman, at no moment does he ask, hey, son, where do you live? He just takes him home. He's like, I found a kid, I'm taking him home. I'm taking him home. He's mine to keep. So he just takes him home. But he does ask the kid, like, why are they chasing you? And he, like, pantomimes out the whole thing about like you were saying, someone got hung and chasing him and cracking his knuckles, and he's got stinky hairspray. And the way they did this
this
is
kid's really good at charades, even though he doesn't know what these things look like either.
And the art here, like, we get one panel, one tall vertical panel on the left, like a third of the page, and the other 2/3 of the page are 3 horizontal panels across in 3 rows. So you got a grid of 9 panels, and each panel just has the same perspective of Teddy, but he's acting out something different in each panel.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting way to go about it. But
the interesting thing here is that, like, I don't think this kid could possibly testify against anyone. So if they just knew he was blind, this whole thing could be over.
Yeah, that's kind of the joke here, that those guys don't know he's blind, so they think he saw, but he didn't see anything. You know.
Yep. It's like a Three's Company misunderstanding going here. If only they knew.
The Ragman says, and those killers don't know that the only witness to their act are a blind mute and his cat. There's some pauses in there.
I like that you Adam Wested that up. And his cat.
So anyway, Ragman takes him back to his apartment there, or his house, or wherever the hell he lives. I guess he lives in the junk house. And he says, I got a friend you can stay with, Rory Regan. And
yeah. Again, this kid's blind. I don't even know. You have to come up with a bullshit story. Like, he's not going to know whether you're wearing the costume or not.
So the kid and the cat, that cat's pretty cool. They take a nap there, and Rory Regan, he's or Reagan, I don't know. I guess, how are we saying this? Reagan? Who cares?
Yeah, either way.
Let's call the whole thing off. So he's sitting in a chair, and he's just thinking back, and we get a recap of his history here, and about how he's in Vietnam, and he came back and his old man, and
kind of recounting the origin, which I'm assuming just happened in like issue 1, but
yes. Might as well recap it again. And we see them all getting electrocuted, and then he becomes Ragman. And what does he say here? I don't know where Pop found the Ragman suit. Maybe it was a Halloween joke, but that's become a part of me too. Yeah, okay. It's great. And then we see the crooks, and boom, they're spilling their guts to Mr. Big. He said they were going to do it on their own. But nope. And Mr. Big's like Kingpin in a wheelchair.
Yeah. And it's a meltier almost. Like,
yeah,
he's tight. But this guy looks like an old candle or something.
Yeah,
it's melting down.
Very soft and pliable, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like silly putty. You just make it into whatever you want.
But he's in a wheelchair, and he doesn't seem like he's a nice fellow, this big guy.
No. And
then we go back to the Rags and Tatters, and we see Rory Reagan going over his inventory at this junk shop. And this blonde lady named Bet shows up, and I guess they're sweet on each other, maybe.
Yeah.
And
well, who wouldn't be? This guy's sitting on that junk fortune.
And she's like she works for the paper. She's got a camera around her neck. Yeah, she's not just doing this on her own, like taking pictures. Like, she actually is employed as a reporter, right? I think so.
Just a big junk enthusiast. Yeah, no, she definitely is. And she's like, I came by to remind you. He's like, remind me of what? So you've already forgotten our date. You're coming along with me tomorrow night to Chinatown. I'm doing a story on the Chinese New Year. Ta-ta, see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, how about Gotham City having a junk section, a Chinese section?
Yeah. Apparently Batman doesn't show up in these parts. They're below his radar.
But Reagan, the kid and the cat are still sleeping. Man.
Yeah.
Kids are still sleeping.
They're really tuckered out.
But he notices some flashlights in the backyard. Some people nosing around the junkyard.
Uh-oh, someone's playing Ghost in the Graveyard.
So he goes, puts on his Ragman outfit again, and he goes out, but the cat sees him. And he says, "Oh, hey, cat, that's right, I'm Ragman. Don't tell anybody." And the cat's like,
I'll have to kill you.
Yeah.
So I have like a bag made of rags in here. I could throw you in the river if you try to squeal.
So the cooks are out there. They're looking for the little Teddy, and because they think he saw him. So then the Ragman comes out, and what does Ragman do, Jack?
Well, he throws a tire at a guy, I think.
It somehow goes around his legs.
Yeah, unclear exactly what's going on there, but either throws the guy into the tire or throws the tire around the guy. One or the other. Yeah. And then they start shooting at him. And they're like, cut him down in the crossfire. But he just kicks the one guy in the face and, again, just hits him right into that other guy who just goes down. A guy falling on him just takes this guy out every time.
Man, don't mess with former circus performers because Ragman just mows these guys down real quick.
Yep.
And he always just leaves them there. He doesn't arrest them or takes them to prison. Take them to the cops. Nope. Just leave them there.
And do you suppose this is Gotham City? Like, do you think that's the same circus like Dick Grayson's parents worked at? Ooh. Like, they just have constant tragedy there?
I never thought of that. That would be pretty sweet if it is all connected.
Yeah. That would make sense.
Or maybe it was the Ringmaster Circus of Crime.
Oh.
Yeah.
They died when the She-Hulk picked him up and put him upside down.
But we see Ragman, and after he knocked them all out, he's walking back to his house there, and he walks right past the mattresses with the $2 million, but he doesn't even know it.
Ooh,
he doesn't even know it.
That hurts.
Yeah. So now we see Rory. Now he's in his normal outfit there, and he's giving Teddy and the cat breakfast. And then we see him at his job, working in the rags and tatters store, and everyone that comes in has a sob story. And Rory's just like, don't worry about it. Here's a $1. You can keep the thing. They're trying to pawn their stuff. And the first guy, this poor son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Listen, I am broke as all. I'm bone broke. But this guy here, he can't afford goldfish anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. There's got to be a pond you could just like go get a fish, probably.
He says, my goldfish are my only friends, but they died. I can't afford to buy new ones, so I don't need this bowl anymore.
Yeah. And it's a real O. Henry story because he gives him $350 for the bowl, and but he can't buy fish now because he doesn't have a bowl.
Hey, well, how much do you want for the bowl, Rory? $5. Yeah, man, just get some goldfish, buddy. I think like a quarter. Get one? Oh. So anyway, how sad is that his only friends are goldfish as well?
I mean, he's got more friends than I do, so.
Come on, I'm an acquaintance.
That's right.
And you got a million cousins. Yeah. And there's a kid who he wants to give up his baseball mitt because his mom's too poor or something. And he said, you keep the mitt. And then there's some old lady we don't even see, but she wants to sell her wedding dress from 50 years ago. And he's like, yeah, it'll just get dusty around here. Here's $5 for the dress, but you keep it at your place until I find a buyer. So this Rory, salt of the earth.
Yep. Yeah, I wonder, so you think he ever expects to actually sell that thing, or he's just giving it $5?
Yeah, he's just giving her $5. That'd be pretty great if he shows up at her house, found a buyer. I need that dress.
Give me it now. I don't care that it was your mom's wedding dress. I gave you $5.
But I will say I flipped through a couple issues, and there's a scene like that in pretty much every issue, where like 3 people come in and
they're really trying to put this guy over.
Yeah.
Look what a good guy he is.
Like when I first read, I thought, oh, well, he has that $2 million. That's why he's so generous. But no, he doesn't know the $2 million is back there. So how's this guy getting all this money?
I don't know.
I doubt the junk business in Gotham City is very profitable.
Like maybe he just picks the pockets of the criminals he beats. Like, why not? They probably did bad things to get their money.
So we see Rory, Teddy, and the cat. They're meeting Bet. and they're going to go to Chinatown. And as they're just going about their business, getting ready to go to Chinatown, here a lady from the orphanage just walks up and says, "Hey, Teddy, I see you. Thank God. We were looking all over for you, Teddy." But Teddy doesn't look too happy about seeing this orphanage lady, you know. I don't know what's going on at that orphanage. Might be some shady business. But Beth says, "Hey, you know what, lady from the orphanage? We were just about to go see the Chinese New Year parade or whatever the hell it is. Why don't you let us take Teddy out and have some fun, and then we'll drop him off at the orphanage afterwards?" And she says, "Yeah, you know what? No one ever comes to visit Teddy. You can go. You can keep him. Yeah,
Yeah.
drop him off."
Oh, we found him again. Oh, well. You can take him again. No one really missed him that much while he was gone. We put up the minimal effort to try to find him.
Yeah. So, poor Teddy. But he gets with Rory and Bet, and they're watching this dragon going down the street there. And but then Rory, do you notice Rory's dressed like the man with Curious George? He's dressed in all yellow. That's Rory. Yellow shirt, yellow pants. So it needs a hat. Maybe the man in the yellow hat.
He's training a future chimp detective.
So he says, "Hey, I got to go talk to the cops because they found some guys beaten up in the back of my house."
Yeah, this is all weird. Like, the cops they don't want to talk to you that badly. Just come in when you can.
And why didn't you do that before you took Teddy to the parade? Or, you know, like, how did he hear that the cops needed to talk to him? He just imagined this? Or he knew it all along? Yeah, the whole thing's just...
Yeah, the cops didn't didn't take the people into custody, clearly. So how did they know about them?
I guess he said they found them. So these guys were knocked out for, like, a long time.
Yeah, none of this adds up.
You get punched by a circus strongman, you are out. You're not getting up for long. So Teddy and the cat are enjoying the parade there. And what's Teddy eating there? Is that
I think an egg roll.
That's right.
Yeah.
An egg roll. And he's making new friends in Chinatown. And they're all having a grand old time. But then who comes along, Jake?
Oh boy. It's the guy in the wheelchair.
Yes. That son of a bitch.
Yep. And his buddy with the pomade hair.
Yeah. And he says, "Look, there's that little kid." And so the guy is cracking his knuckles. I don't know if the people who made this book know how cracking knuckles work, but you can't do it constantly. Yeah, you can crack your knuckles, and then it's going to be a while before you can crack that knuckle again, you know?
Yeah, that is a flaw.
But this guy's cracking his knuckles every panel.
And it seems unnecessary. Like, what's the point? You already got the pomade thing. Like, what do you need the knuckles cracking thing?
Doubling it up. Just making sure.
Yeah.
You know, because if someone else could have smelly hair or crack their knuckles. But what are the odds that they're cracking their knuckles and have smelly hair? So,
that's right.
Yeah.
But again, I think they're going to go down because they're shooting at people now, not so much whatever happened before that they can't really prove because the only witness was blind and mute.
So the guy's sneaking up behind Teddy, but Teddy gets a whiff of the pomade there, and he's hearing the crack, and he gets pretty freaked out, and he grabs Bet and he starts pointing to the guy, and the guy says, "Hey, go ahead and finger me." All right, that's phrasing. Let's work on the phrasing.
Yeah. There's children present.
It won't do you no good. But Bet's like, "Hey, what's the matter, Teddy? What's wrong?" And just then, Ragman shows up.
Ragman.
It almost seems like he's got a superpower of like the Shroud or something. Like everything turns black when he shows up.
Yeah.
Suddenly, a mantle of darkness falls between the callous killer and his prey. Because that's like the second time they mentioned something about darkness.
Is that a circus ability that I didn't know about?
I don't know.
Darkman.
But Ragman shows up and he just KOs the creep with the pomade with a right uppercut. Boom, knocks him out. And but then, who intervenes, Jank? Your favorite guy.
That's right.
Take us home.
Ragman. He's throwing punches again. Just wham. One punch.
But who
knocking this guy in the face.
But who comes in next, though?
Oh yeah, because the guy in the wheelchair, turns out he's got like Gatling guns on the arms of his chair. He's just gonna mow down Ragman. He's like, I've had enough of this. Nobody stands in my way, and starts firing his machine guns. And but then who could get to him in time to stop all this? The cat. This little baby kitten rears back and is like, I got this, and just jumps at him, starts mauling the crap out of him. Somehow is able to knock him out of his wheelchair and send him flying back through a glass window.
Well, I think what happened is he jumps on the guy's throat and his face, and he's messing him up. And the guy hit the window and flew out of the chair. You know?
Yeah.
Not so much the cat threw him out, but the momentum threw him out. But yeah, so he goes crashing right through the window. This isn't Rags and Tatters, is it?
Ooh, I hope not.
Yeah, because he can't afford a window. He just gave that guy $350 for a fishbowl.
That's what he's going to do. He's going to use the glass from the fishbowl to solder it into like a weird shape. And, yeah.
Now, do you think that Mr. Big is dead? Because he's on his stomach and that he's just laying there.
I mean, I can't see the cat actually being able to kill him, but maybe going through the glass window. Yeah. I don't know, like severed his jugular somewhere. I don't know.
I was concerned the cat was dead too, but yeah, it looks like the cat's in Teddy's arms there, and the cat's okay. And they're trying to, and the cops are saying, some other guy showed up, and they're like, yeah, he's Ragman, officer. He just seemed to disappear. And then we get an insert of Ragman's face looking knowingly at the camera. And in a shadowy recess of a nearby slum tenement, the Tatterdemalion, wow, they doubled it up, yep, smiles approvingly. And he says, I don't think I've seen the last of Teddy or his tiger that looks like a pussycat. The end. So, really, like, the hero of this story wasn't the cat. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Ragman threw a couple punches, but the cat really saved the day there. All the people would have been mowed down if it wasn't for the cat.
So maybe, can I get a book about the cat? Maybe that'd be better.
Rag cat? Maybe he can wear the suit.
So there is Ragman, issue 3.
Ideal book. I mean, it's got a Gary Coleman-esque character. It's got a cat saving the day. Like,
I know. I love it. So, all right, we mentioned the story continues from here. Would you like to explain what happens in the final sequence of issue 5?
Yeah, I didn't read it, but I happened to see that the crooks come back and they're trying to get that money, and somehow the money goes up in flames.
Well, here's what happened: is Ragman had already beaten up the crooks. Basically, there's one crook I think still around, but some old homeless fella was taking a nap in the junkyard, you know, and it was very cold. And Teddy comes along and he sees that guy. And the guy is like, he started a really little fire to try and stay warm. And he can't, I don't even think he knows, he's a really old guy and he's kind of out of it. And he's almost like freezing to death, I guess. I don't know. So he asked Teddy, hey, can you find some paper to, you know, make the fire go a little stronger for me? And Teddy, he's a blind fella, you know. He can't really, he's not Daredevil, so he can't tell the difference between money and normal paper. So Teddy finds the $2 million somehow, and he just starts throwing it onto the fire to warm up the old guy. And yeah, he burns up the $2 million.
Oops. Yeah, we learned an important lesson. Don't keep this kid around. That lady at the orphanage was right. Should just let him go.
Teddy just burned up $2 million. And then the one crook who was left over, he just happens to wander in, and he sees the money in the fire, and he goes running in to grab it, and he just sticks his bare hands into the flames to try and grab the money. Those hands are burning up, and just then Ragman jumps in and catches that guy, And he says, "You won't be using those hands for a while." Sorry, his hands are on fire. And he takes old what's his face, the criminal guy. He says, "I'm going to take him to the cops. You guys be here, okay here?" And Teddy is, say, "Yeah, sure." Well, he can't say sure because he's mute. But the old guy says, "Yeah, we'll be fine." And then we see the cat in the window of the Rags and Tatters, and he smiles down knowingly, just like Ragman did in this issue. He's like, "Yeah, that's right."
Wow, the cat really is the main character.
Yes, this cat is awesome, and I don't even think he has a name. But
oh yeah, that's true. Maybe if it would have got to issue 6, that would have been the big reveal.
Yeah, this is really just a 5-issue lead up to the cat taking over the series, and but sadly we never get there. But yeah, so there it is, the story of Teddy and his cat,
and maybe Ragman somewhere in the background.
But I like the backstory for Ragman. His old man and circus performers get electrocuted as they're all holding hands, and he gets their circus performing abilities. That's pretty good. And I like the outfit, and
like the logo.
Yeah, of the book. And I like the Sanford and Son kind of tie-in here, and the Gary Coleman tie-in. The cat. There's a lot I like here. So.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, the premise and stuff stronger than the actual delivery of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the art was anything special or great, but it was fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't really take much notice of the art either way, I guess. I guess they did a good job with the cat. Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't much to write home about there.
I like Mr. Big in his wheelchair with the gun punch.
Who
do you think wins in a fight? A Mr. Big in his wheelchair of death, or Wheels from the Wolfpack?
Ooh, I mean, Wheels would fake him out. He'd just pretend to be asleep, and then Mr. Big would go about his business. Then all of a sudden, Wheels would pop back up.
So the writing here is not the best. Again, the whole we won't even tell Mr. Big. We'll handle it ourselves. And the next thing you see him, they're telling Mr. Big. What happened?
The
fight scenes. I like punching, but Ragman, he just shows up, punches a guy, 3 panels, done. Then the same fight sequence again, 3 panels, done. Similar. I don't know. The fights could have been better, I guess is what I'm saying. But yeah. So it's okay. I'm going to give it a 6.
Yeah, I think I was
middle of the road. But,
yeah. I think I might go 5, right down the middle.
Yeah, because you don't have my love of Gary Coleman and cats.
That's right. It's fine. It was just kind of a goofy romp, I guess, more so than anything you'd really hang your hat on. But I like the goofiness of the guy with the wheelchair and the machine guns and the cat taking him out. So that's a good ending.
Yeah, 5 is definitely where it should be rated, but like I said, I like Gary Coleman and cats. So there you go.
Although if this were a Gary Coleman movie, he would probably be running a lot more and less sleeping through half the issue.
He would also be adopted at the end.
That's right.
Every
Robert Keough would come in and adopt him.
So there you go, Ragman. And that's something we all learned. So next week here on the Big Show, we're going to learn about another hero who I've been meaning to do for years, and I kept putting it off. And then I had one issue picked. It was a done deal, Jank. I went to take my nap this evening with this issue chosen. And when I woke up from my nap, I said, you know what? Maybe I can find a better choice.
Oh.
So right before the show, I dug through, and I think we're going to call an audible here. And we're going to go with Justice League of America, issue 106 from 1973. And the reason we're doing this is because it features Red Tornado.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you've been teasing this for like a year and a half.
Yeah, because I wanted to do a Red Tornado. He had a limited series in 1985, 4-issue limited series, and Carmine Infantino drew it. And but I'll be honest, doesn't look like the most exciting stories. So I was kind of putting it off.
Give
I was like,
Power Girls limited series a run for its money in terms of boringness.
I don't know. I just like doesn't look the best. But I was going to pick issue 1, and then I was like, nah, let's go back because I like the real wheelhouse for Flea Market Fantasy in the 1970s, and let's go back old school. And in this issue of the Justice League, old Red Tornado, he's kind of like he shows up again after everyone thought he was dead, and he's kind of like infiltrating the Justice League at the behest of an evil scientist, and it's very similar to what happened with the Vision in the Avengers.
Yep.
So maybe we'll talk about that next week. Red Tornado.
There we go.
In the Vision.
We'll talk about a DC character by comparing it to a Marvel character we know more about.
Yes.
That's what this show is.
But I never knew the Red Tornado's background, and then when I heard about that, like, oh, they might have ripped off the Vision, or the Vision ripped them off. So who ripped?
We'll see. Check the dates. See who was first.
We'll figure it out. So that'll be next week. And I think the creative team is Len Wein and Dick Dillon, or who we're dealing with next week.
I don't know who Dick Dillon is, so that'll be interesting.
Oh, you have to know who Dick Dillon is. He's an old Silver Age artist. We've talked about Dick Dillon countless times, I'm sure, no?
I don't know. I don't think on any episodes I've been on. Someone can go back and point out like 4 of them, but
it's probably old Mike L.
Yeah. Probably.
So, anyway, all right. So that's next week here on The Big Show. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We appreciate the support. And until then, don't get any jank on you.